Hi, everybody. I'm Willem.
And I'm Tim.
And this is Hear Me Out Pitch. He didn't get me this time. That was good.
Nope.
And I need to catch up. So hopefully you guys will have some good stuff tomorrow for Friday.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It is what it is. It's fine. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing oh my gosh. Hope everybody's doing great. Here in Utah, it's freezing, so that's great. Oh. Other than that, it's been just fine. And we are doing a change movie episode. I don't even know what else we would describe it. But just the original stuff, what we used to do. Classic Hear Me Out Pitch episode. We are going over a movie. I saw it on, just suggested on the TVs, and I thought, the rating was kind of low, and I thought I'd give it a try. And we are talking about the 2021 movie Infinite with Mark Wahlberg. And it
wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible.
It wasn't great. A lot of people hated it. I was looking through some of the reviews, and a lot of people really disliked it.
We were going through a rough patch as a whole world. Like, you think about 2021. Now, as a whole world, we were still... 2020 was a weird, dark... Yeah, it's just... Yeah, crazy. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm curious. What did people say?
I am reading through, and I'm trying to find one that doesn't use profanity.
I was just about to say, is there a lot of profanity? It's just and then like it's just terrible.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying that it was incredibly cliche.
I can agree to that.
Which I can agree. Also, at the same time, sometimes it's kind of nice to have the cliche.
How many of our superhero movies are cliche?
Too many.
Too many. How many? Yeah, someone always pointed out to me that most of the movies are. It's whatever. Hero's journey. They're pretty cliche. They have a lot of cliches. We are human. How many of us as little kids, we ran up the stairs on 4 legs, or we all imagined a little tiny dude running across the highway with us as we're driving in the car as kids, or we watch the, droplets go. We all are similar. We're all human, and we have unique experiences, but we all can quickly find similar experiences.
There's a reason why certain things are cliche, right? For example,
we like it
in this movie, right? We have the cliche, the spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the movie and you actually care to, go watch it. I'll admit ahead of time, I didn't hate it. I think it's worth one watch. I think it's worth watching once.
I think it is worth watching once. I don't know if I would have saw that in theaters, but for Prime Video, watching it with an ad or two, I'm still whatever. We're not here to joke about that, but
yeah. But at the end of the movie, there's the big fight between our main character, our protagonist, and the antagonist, and they fight, and it's actually a pretty cool fight. I thought it was well choreographed.
You know why? Because you love Uncharted.
I do love Uncharted. That is true, and you're totally right. You're totally right. But at the end, the villain Bathurst has what I can only describe as a hand cannon,
a limbo gun.
Yeah, he shoots it into people's heads and downloads their soul.
And why would he have to
microchips.
Download their soul, Tim? For everyone who's now going, Tim, what are you talking about?
The main premise of the movie, there are about 500 of these people called Infinites.
Lame name.
I think it should be something unique.
The Endless. I like the Endless. The Endless I thought was way better.
Anyway, these people live and they die and then they're reincarnated. It's just like the reincarnation that they believe, in the East. Mm-hmm. It's very, very similar, and it's actually a really cool premise.
It was really intriguing.
Liked the idea. But yeah, anyway, Bathurst has this gun that their bullets, when they shoot someone in the head with it, then their soul is downloaded into the bullet and they don't reincarnate because their next life is stuck on that little microchip. And so he hides that away. Anyway, the final fight, very, very cliche. Our main antagonist gets it. He gets the gun and shoots our bad guy in the head and downloads his own brain.
Protagonist.
The protagonist shoots the antagonist in the head. That's what I meant to say.
And what name do we want to stick with for Mark Wahlberg's character? Because I know he had many.
Evan.
Just Evan?
I think.
Just go over Evan?
Evan.
Okay, I can go with that.
It's
a good name.
Yeah, or Treadwell. Either way. I think Evan, though, because Evan is his current life.
Evan is his current life, and Treadwell is the previous life. Played none other than, is that Percy? That wasn't Percy Jackson. Is he the kid? He's in Maze Runner, that kid? It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I think the premise of the movie, like Tim said, you have the 500 or so infinites. They've been living throughout the history of the world, being reincarnated, going through. When they go through puberty, they remember their past lives. And Bathurst, the main antagonist, who is Mordum from what's his name? Mordock? No.
Mordo.
Oh gosh, Mordo? Is that it?
I think so.
Oh my gosh, I'll find it and I'll try to put it in the thing. But he's
I don't think he's the same actor.
He's Doctor Strange's.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same guy.
I think it is. I think I was checking it.
I'll check.
You can double check it real quick.
I'll fact
check me while I explain. So, but usually the process is they go through puberty and they have their next life and they'll get all their memories and they'll live through it. Fine. Wonderful. Now I can't say his name right. Bathurst. Wow. I'm terrible with names. That's why Tim is here. Bathurst, as soon as he is in the womb, he is
Mordo.
Okay.
You're right.
And that's fine. It's fine. People doubt me all the time. I'm used to it. But
no, you're good. It's been a minute since I watched Doctor Strange. So
and he did look different in the second one, which we watched a while back. We have an episode on that. Go watch it. Anyway. But he is sick of he's been in, and I felt sympathy for him. Honestly, I did. He has never had the chance to have a little bit of another childhood. He didn't get to grow in other lives. He just constantly is thinking the same stream of thought. And that to me was absolutely insane.
A note. He is the guy from Maze Runner.
Okay. And I've never seen those. So
they're good.
Okay.
They're not the same as the books, but they're good.
Okay. And so all in all, we have the people who want to destroy the world and end the cycle because to them it is suffering. And then we have the believers who believe that there's good in humanity and they want to keep it going. And the final fight is a giant bomb. Whatever. Evan, Mock, his character, he got messed up. They never specified why he couldn't remember his life. He grew up this current life that we see in the movie.
He was in an accident when he was young.
Oh, and they put a metal plate. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that
car crash.
And has killed his parents.
Yeah.
And he got the steel plate in, and then the schizophrenia began. And okay, that makes way more sense. Thank you. I've been trying to figure out why is okay. All right.
I gotta say, I think this is a really funny review. This person set the review. Nick Cage would have liked to be in this movie, just because it's the way that it's.
Oh my gosh,
he totally would have been.
He could have been like the wizened old guy.
I think if he put aside his regular Nicolas Cage,
I think we need to go and steal it. It's like, no, okay, calm down.
I think he would have been. Honestly, he would have been a decent Bathurst.
Oh,
if he tried, I think it would have fit. Anyway, it was just something that I thought was funny.
So I guess we won't go too far into the plot because it's very simple. They try to get the believers intercept Evan, and Evan is one of the last people to know where the egg is that Bathurst made that will disintegrate life on Earth. DNA, just everything will be wiped out. They go through the movie. They get his memories back near the end. And there's a few random moments. We'll talk about some stuff and we'll talk about things we like. But all in all, we just have two groups of people who reincarnate. The villain is able to pause them and put them in a weird limbo state. And it was interesting and funny enough. And I told Tim this halfway. I went, this is the closest thing I've seen to, and Tim, have you ever seen this movie before?
Nope.
Yesterday? I've never seen this movie before. I keep looking at the screen and you look at the camera. Sorry, everybody.
I'm continuing to read reviews because I think they're hilarious.
Stop reading reviews. The point I'm trying to make is I thought that I hope you didn't I didn't make you feel bad. Tim, you can do whatever you want. But the feeling of our two main antagonists, two main characters of Bathurst and Evan, they reminded me of what we kind of wanted with
Cain and Abel for our two brothers in Soul Forged. We weren't gonna make them. Oh wait, were we gonna make them? We were making them something. I don't know. For anyone interested, we do have an original story. It's pretty cool. It's
pretty cool concept, and we are gonna travel more into it. We were actually hoping to do a origin story of the two main brothers we had, and they're kind of based off Cain and Abel. But honestly, I'm going to cut this aside and we're going to kind of cliche, because I told Tim straight up at the very beginning, I would have made Bathurst and Evan Cain and Abel in real life. I don't care. I don't care if that would have been funny. It would have matched perfect with our histories. I'm going to use quotations here, but it would have been cool to see that these two people were always with each other. They're brothers, and I think Bathurst or Cain having a curse that I think
here's what I would have done.
Okay.
Bathurst is Cain.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. We already have Abel, and he's not the main character. He's the main character's sidekick, not girlfriend's eternal boyfriend, basically. Yep. And
I liked them a lot.
I thought that was cool. And
it was Hawkman and Hawkwoman. I loved it.
I gotta say, I loved the idea that Evan did not have any romantic ties to anybody.
No, it was great.
It just made it so that it wasn't as cliche as it would have been.
It was refreshing.
It was very refreshing.
They were a family. They were a unit. They've known each other countless cycles.
A team.
They're all avatars in their own way. I will say, though, no superpowers for Evan. Whatever they were trying to do, control, because there's a few scenes of Evan's character in many of his lives where he could control the wind. It was only like two.
It was like two.
It felt like three or more.
There was one scene in his past, and then it came full circle, and it was mentioned briefly by one of the other people. Briefly, and then
that was what I was thinking.
At the end, he's on an airplane on the outside of it. He's using a katana, and I think that is really cool. I really would have liked them to dove in deeper into that whole, master swordsman, katana maker, blacksmith, that kind of thing. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. Just the backstory build up so that we have a little bit more of a footing for what we got.
I still thought it was cool.
Bad. I thought it was really cool. Anyway, he stabs the sword into the side of the airplane, and then he gets flashbacks of these this ability, and then he lets go of the sword and like Spider-Man's it, where he like sticks his fingers to the airplane and pushes himself up and stands up on a moving airplane, and like he's holding his hand out, like
he's it's basically like Morbius's ability to like ride the
it was bizarre wind. And it didn't need to be
it wasn't at all needed.
No.
I still think combining the Cain and Abel concept, at least the idea, like they don't have to be Cain and Abel, but they would be of what inspired that, you can say, if we're going to treat the Bible as a story. I love that sort of thing. I love the idea of, I've loved so many stories or movies where two endless brothers are seen as Michael and Lucifer. They're seen as all the, and I love that kind of stuff. And if we're gonna make this a cliche type story, I'll go with that. I do think the idea of them being brothers or connected so early on, and in the very beginning, Cain would have been the more aggressive one, would have been awesome. I think that would have been cool.
I think here's my biggest issue with the movie. Bathurst wanted eternal sleep. He didn't want to exist anymore.
He wanted the cycle to end.
Death. He wanted death to be death, the way that everybody else knows it, and it isn't that way for him. He has a gun that he shoots people in the head, and it downloads their consciousness onto a little flash drive or onto a little microchip. Why doesn't he do that?
Well, I thought that too. And here's the thing, though. I think that they are just suffering in that, and so they're all feeling what he's feeling.
If that's the case, they need to say that in the movie. Otherwise, like that was the main problem I had with it the whole movie, because the whole time he's shooting people, and then we discover he has the dethroner that shoots people and stops their reincarnation cycle, and it's like, as soon as that was mentioned, I was like, why doesn't he just shoot himself?
See, I would have wanted,
if I'm asking it, why aren't they asking that question?
I would have gone an older route, that he's been doing this a longer time, and he did it with, I don't want to bring like mysticism into it, but to some way they're treated like almost like jinn or something. And for any Stormlight fans, just a dagger that can stop it. A herald killer type knife. That's the first thing I thought of. He loved weapons. He loved a blade, and I just feel like it would fit his character very well. Very violent, very gruesome. And I think that showing the history of him murdering, I think it would have been awesome for him to be Jack the Ripper, and the 3 women he killed were 3 of the Endless. That sort of thing. Something I immediately thought of. I was like, that would be kind of cool. Like, why did he massacre them like that? Because they were the first 3 that he could actually he did it. So something like that. Or it could be even older. But the point I would make is that some of them have been held for centuries, eons, and they free maybe just one random person, like someone who they need to help, that they know would help, and they come out of it, and they've been in limbo. They've been in this hell, and they realize that kind of answers the question. I would have had that become the answer of why doesn't he do this to himself if it's a dethroner.
A shattered mind state.
Yeah, they shattered for any Sanderson fans, or for any, I can't remember the books now. Darn it. But I just would imagine that if you are in a state of suffering and frozen and a limbo, we can call it that. I'll call it that. Also, can we all just look at Tim? Look at his awesome jacket. Sorry, I just like looking at him, and it's just like vintage old jacket. For all you listening, y'all are missing out, but just love it. Anyway, just obsessed with that jacket. Moving back to it, That's what I would do to answer that question of yours. I would want that question to be in the audience mind, just like how it was for you, just like how it was for me.
Right.
But then when they actually show someone get freed, or even at the end, they show that, oh no, they're shattered. Maybe they bring back someone who's only been in there for 50 years and he's like, oh my gosh, I don't think I was going to last much longer. Thank you. And so the ending of the movie would be freeing them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of what it was. I think I would have gone a little bit of a different route. I would have had it be one of two things. Either just exactly the way it is, except he makes, Bathurst just makes a single comment about how they're still conscious.
I think he... I
don't think he did.
I will do homework.
He might have, but I don't think he did.
Okay.
The fact that I don't remember it means that it wasn't.
Maybe they said it real fast. Maybe it was a boring part. It
needs to be a major point. Like, it has to be very, they are still conscious. I am shaking the table. Earthquake. That means your camera's shaking like crazy.
Nah, they stabilized. It's fine.
Anyway, either that would just tie up quick loose end, because his whole thing is he doesn't want to be conscious anymore, because consciousness comes to him in the womb.
Yeah.
And he is remembering every life for 9 months in the womb where he's stuck doing nothing. It drives him insane. Mm-hmm. Also, yeah, well, never mind. So either that, or he develops, his dethroner straight up just kills them, is able to eliminate their soul entirely. And the only reason he doesn't do it to himself is because he doesn't want to take chances.
He's too scared that it didn't work.
Exactly.
I do like that.
I don't think I would go that route.
But it's too much of like now you're actually scared. And that if we did do that route, that would be the funny thing is you're actually scared, aren't you? You don't want to die. I think that could be. I think that making the point, that's why I like the idea of it being a knife earlier, and then it could have turned into a gun. Either way.
I think the gun just works because it's technology. It's not, it's not the mystical stuff that we get in Stormlight.
Yeah.
It's technology, something that we can connect to.
And so that's what stinks is I want to be able to, could we make up a way that they have been doing this a lot longer? Because if that first life is from, if this takes place in 2020 and he's in his 30s or 40s, that takes place in either the 80s or the 70s in that first life, that means, right when computers are first starting, they're more advanced. I could maybe get along with that, but I just want the consequence of this limbo to be a real thing. And so that's why I would want for some way they are taking their souls originally or hindering them. I don't know how we could do it. I don't know how it would work.
Maybe his original thing was as opposed to locking up their consciousness, he's locking them up. So like under his compound, he's just torturing them. He's got a dungeon that he keeps them there, and he keeps them alive for their entire lifespans so they can't mess stuff up.
Ooh, and he could do just psychological torture. And then and that would be sad though, because it could show somebody like a teenager just breaking randomly because they get all their memories back, and that past life is slowly starting to affect them. Ooh, and he's been doing that to so many of them. Like he'll just do that they will spend certain lifetimes, and so he becomes okay, I think I could work with that. But then that's when he, and then
that's when he's testing it.
And that could have been one of the flashbacks. That could have been at the beginning. Maybe they're trying to save one of them, or try to save all of them, but then we see that he shoots the gun. Would you still want the egg, the bomb, the thing? Would you want to change the bomb in any way?
It feels weird. It
is. So we should say that this bomb, and I mentioned a little bit, it tears apart DNA, like all life, flowers, like plants,
anything from bacteria to, great white shark.
This would make this would just make Earth a just
barren wasteland.
barren rock. It would be nothing. Everything would be dead, because their idea is they can, if there's nothing living, there's nothing to
reincarnate
to. So my question is, if there was no humans, would they just all start turning into animals and then get sentience? And that's how we got Zootopia.
Yes.
Zootopia is actually the infinites. And no, I'm changing the name. They're the endless. Ugh. I like that name way better. I understand infinite, but this life, this Earth is not infinite. And to me, endless seems a little...
I would have gone with something completely different.
What would you have gone with?
I don't know. Pick like a Hindi word, or an ancient Chinese word, something that has to do with reincarnation.
They're just called angels.
Yeah.
I'm just team. I don't know why I'm not a big fan of the word infinite. It's just because they use the symbol of infinity, and I'm just like, why are you just advertising what y'all is? Like, they're like driving these cars and the symbol of the infinity sign is up there, and I'm like, why? That makes I would never want to display what I am. So I think the endless, I think it has like a good solid line. I like it. I would love to see if they ever were hive-minded at one point. I would have called the other side, because you had the believers and the nihilists. I like
the nihilists.
You like it?
I do like it. It just comes from annihilation, the word annihilation. And my Star Wars nerdiness, there was an ancient Sith Lord called Darth Nihilus that would devour the Force essence of the entire planets. I thought it was I think it's kind of cool. So I don't know. I like the word. I like the nihilists. I think it fits. The believers, I could keep it. I could let it go. I don't really care.
I would have made it just two sects of... Well, they all would have been the endless. And I'm going to stick with the biblical stuff because I like it.
Angels and demons?
Legion.
Oh.
And even though it's like, well, there's not that many of them. Yes, but their lives are. So, but... I've always liked the name of the villain I've always wanted to make a villain with many personalities, or just who can multiply their body. I've always wanted to make someone and name them Legion, and they'd just be terrifying.
That's kind of what Sanderson did, isn't it?
With
Legion.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. He was really cool. And that's, I did. I forgot about him. And I do remember going, yes, this is what Legion would. So I'd probably stick with, anyway. I had a question. I gave you a question and I forgot what I even asked you, and that's the terrible thing.
Don't remember.
I was like, all right, homework assignment is, and I blanked on it. I'm terrible.
I don't know.
There's no way to tell. It's probably going to hit us like halfway in the middle of the night. We'll both go, and then just that won't matter.
I don't know. Yeah. Going back to these reviews, I think they're The Matrix, made by the Kardashians.
Oh my gosh. Stop. No.
I mean,
kind of. It was. It had a chosen one who was pulled from his lame existence into a bigger world.
Who had cool abilities.
It did remind me of the Matrix.
Dodge bullets.
Yep.
He did deflect a bullet with his katana. I thought that was
no.
cool.
The katana scene was pretty cool, and to let you guys know, Evan, he's schizophrenic, but his past lives would sneak in, and he would be having Jason Bourne moments, and he would just remember stuff. And we see him at one moment making a sword like in the Edo period, and he folded it 70 times.
If I remember right, it was
70 times, and it was just a beautiful sword. It looked like it was something that you pulled straight out of feudal Japan, and it was really cool, and he could use it and tried to trade it so he can get medication for schizophrenia. And it was the premise of it is cool. I really do like it. So I can't remember what your answer was, but did you like the bomb, or how would you have done it differently? So
the egg was okay. I didn't hate it.
Okay. Is there a way to change it to make it better?
I don't know. I don't know.
I would say that I was okay with him hiding the egg in his body. And we should emphasize that at the beginning of the movie, we see Evan's previous life.
Oh gosh, that was way too long.
Really?
Yeah,
I kind of liked it.
The car chase scene.
It was okay. Yeah.
It was straight up. We started the movie 10 minutes in. We're still in the first bit where he's driving a car. He's been driving a car for the last 7 minutes of the movie.
After we've had an explanation of the infinite,
and he's been driving away and evading the police and everything. And it's like, okay, you want to show off that it's Fast and Furious, but it's not Fast and Furious.
And this is where the cliches came in.
Yeah, it is where one of the cliches came in, where it was just, it felt, the car chase felt too long and too Fast and Furious. We cut it in half.
Too fast and too furious.
Yep. We cut that time in half. I can live with it. I think the car chase, having it be really cool and exciting for a couple minutes is okay, but then it needs to end. I don't want a 12th Fast and Furious movie where Dom Toretto says it's about family. I don't need I don't need that.
Oh, I just had a thought. Sorry. So you liked our two distant lovers?
Yes.
You liked them being separated?
Yes. I thought it was great.
I would have the beginning of the movie, it shows them freeing him. So I kind of want to go with your take on them imprisoning the believers. We'll just call them believers for now. I like that idea, that he's doing psychological torture, breaking them all sorts of ways, and we even see they're watching, and we see him shoot one of them with this gun. It's brand new. This is how we introduce the gun, and we see that's how we get introduced to the gun and the bullets that, and we'll explain it later.
Understand.
Yeah, but that's the first glimpse.
I liked understanding the gun later.
Loved that. I thought that was good.
I thought that was good.
I will keep that. But I would have that they were hearing rumors that the nihilists were planning something. They were starting to make a bomb. It's in the 80s, I'm going to say it's the 80s, 70s. It's been 30 years since the atomic bomb. And the nihilists and the believers could have definitely been a part of that. I would have loved to hear more about their involvement and stuff
in actual real history.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great.
I think it would have been really cool to have seen it would have been cool to see that revealed that Oppenheimer was either a believer or a nihilist. I would probably want him to be a believer, but that doesn't feel like something the believers would do.
Yeah.
So most likely it would be a nihilist, or at least he's on the team and he's guiding Oppenheimer, that sort of thing. The point being is that is what sparked the interest. That's what built it more, and they were planning on building something that could wipe out everybody. I think that would be something special. But point being is Abel, the one who, I forget her name. What?
I think Nora.
Yeah. She and oh my gosh, what is Evan's previous life? Treadway. I am so sorry, guys. Heinrich Treadway. I am terrible with names. It's never been. I am, as we saw earlier in the episode, I'm much better with faces, but names, no. Don't you roll your eyes at me.
No, I was nodding.
Okay.
I wasn't rolling my eyes.
Sorry, I looked away right before.
I wasn't rolling my eyes.
I looked away right when Tim, because Tim does that. He kind of like, sorry, Tim.
I kind of roll my eyes a little bit when I'm nodding. I know I'm not actually.
No, he doesn't, and I've noticed that. I totally thought you were rolling your eyes for a second, but I was just because I was looking. Anyway, wow, everybody. Sorry for that tangent. The point is, I would want them to be trying to rescue Abel after he was trying to find more information about the egg. I would see that before he's been tortured for a fat minute by these guys. It's been years, Tim. I would make it that he's been torturing him for years, and then we see that she kind of lets him go. He's too weak. He would be, for anyone who's played Gears of War 3, I mean Gears of War, the first one, you know what scene I'm thinking of. They won't be able to go on, so they just she says her famous line of, "I'll see you next time." And I would make it later in the movie that Abel is completely kind of broken. Like, he's still a little there, but you see that he's kind of like, and we see that many of the other believers are also like kind of messed up because he's been doing this for centuries and it's getting worse and worse.
I think the whole thing was a recent development though.
No,
that he was, because he and Treadway were partners.
Yeah.
Just in the 1700s.
So it's okay. Then I would make it maybe a little farther down that they stopped. No, you're right.
No, I think
them being knowing each other for much longer.
I think they knew each other. I think them knowing each other for longer is good.
I think they kind of hinted at that.
Having his kind of psychotic break would be earlier or more recent would be better.
The Spanish Inquisition, that's when the nihilists turned away.
Because nobody expects
the Spanish Inquisition. And I know that's a big meme, and it makes me laugh. No, it doesn't. Not really. People bring that up, and like, no one, and I'm like, I do not like the Spanish Inquisition. I read Don Quixote. I read The Pit and the Pendulum. No, I do not like this. Anyway, I would think that would be when they were finding the believers. So the witch trials, all those things.
Yeah.
So
they just need to mention some
some of the stuff. And the anyway, we could probably go through some. I don't want to blame the nihilists for all of what humans have done awful, because there's less than 1,000 of them compared to the
500 total.
2,500.
No, there's only 500.
Oh,
infinites.
Oh, jeez.
Total.
Still, yeah, out of billions of us nowadays.
I mean, now we're at 8.5?
Yeah, it's crazy. So I would make that a good point to make in the movie that I am not even close. We have not even come close to making a big effect on the world as you think. You act as we are angels to these lesser humans. We're not. How many times did they kill you? How many times did they burn you? And we could see memories of them turning and casting out the but I was trying to make the point that I really like that he's breaking them. It's like he's been doing that for the most part, and now he's taking them out after with the computer chip gun. He's like, my goal was to drive you all crazy, but this is much better. But I would have Abel a bigger part in the movie. I would like it too much.
I would have had more, even if it played out the same, I would have had more flashbacks with Abel telling, him having conversations with Treadway or with Nora, and maybe him helping Treadway get the egg, that kind of stuff.
I definitely would have him get shot, and I would have him get shot by the gun. I would have him replace the Viking-looking dude, and he would be the fight. I think that.
I don't know. I liked the Viking dude.
Okay, then
I would have liked to see more of the Viking dude and get more of history.
And that's asking for a lot. So maybe we would have had to. I think 5-minute intro.
Yeah.
not 10-minute car chase. I think the drug deal. I think the drug deal could honestly be shortened, or at least it could have been something else.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It kind of set the tone for the movie,
but they didn't keep the tone. It got really weird. The driving through the police station was absolutely bonkers.
Bizarre.
Why the cars? And who would do that? And you guys are supposed to be these... You guys have so many lives. Are we trying to hint that the believers are also pretty like Templars and Assassins? Do they just not really care? Like, we're just here. We need to stop the other two people. I
bet that is what it was. Just because Bathurst is trying to eliminate all of life.
And were the other people that Bathurst were working with, were all of them endless? I mean, infinites?
I don't think so.
And that's what bugs me. It's like, how did you hire all these people? Did they treat you like a deity? I'm so confused. Mm-hmm. I would have done a better job explaining that. I would have had that in my mind, it makes more sense that there's a good... I want to say like 1,000 to 10,000, or I would make it that it's been going on.
I like the 500 because it's not
750.
It's not a lot.
I'd like to. Tim, I'd like to make a deal.
I reject your offer.
No, 600. 600 final offer.
I think the 500 works. Just
300. I can't go any lower.
Then it's kind of on average, it's about one person per kind of civilization, kind of big major city. You're not going to have 6 of them born in New York in 1992. They're going to be scattered throughout the world and throughout the different times, and so it's a somewhat rare occurrence that you're going to get more than one from the same area, if that makes sense. I don't know. Keeping them, I use the term loosely. Keeping them rare, I think, is important.
What happens if they have kids? Are they just straight up supposed to be like Adam and Eve's children, like the first 500 they had? I don't know. I don't want to claim. We don't have to go too far into it, but to me, it just felt so. It's really hard when you make super old characters like Eternals. You're just like, this is hard because we cannot comprehend. We cannot comprehend what that's like. I would have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, Sanderson does a pretty good job with his heralds.
Yeah, and that is exactly what I would want. Of them being so broken. Like, to me, it's like, how are not all of them broken like Bathurst? That's why, for me, 500 seems... They say 500, and 500 is a good number, but I couldn't feel the magnitude. I didn't feel like there was a lot of them once. I didn't feel like there was two. It just felt like there was just 10 of them, and it was annoying.
Well, I mean, because Bathurst... killed.
Oh yeah, and he did have quite a few.
He had a wall of 200 of them, of the 500, and then I'm sure he just straight up killed a bunch of the others, and so they had to be reborn.
So my question is, I want Bathurst to have his ending. Because to me, him getting shot in the head and being in limbo, that's not... I want him to get what he wants and have that peace of mind. And I know that might be unfair, but guys, he is old.
Yeah, and he's suffering.
And his blips of... And I know that he's committed...
Here's what we could have done. Here's what we could have done. He could have taken the egg from Evan and said, you know, at just final stand, you know, Evan's about to shoot him in the head with his gun, and Bathurst says, fine, you win, but I'm taking you, I'm getting my piece anyway, and he'll take the egg and like crush it or something, and it'll kill him. I don't know, something that just something simple like that, where it could be used as just like a regular grenade that will straight up just eliminate your soul entirely, or you can use it with, you know, the massive... It looked like a speaker.
Yeah.
But the massive bomb, pair it with that and you eliminate all life on the planet. I think he can, you know, he Treadway shoots him maybe in the chest, and as he's dying, he like crushes the egg and says, "Goodbye, my old friend," or something like that. Something a little bit cheesy, cliche again. Says something to the effect of like, "You won't see me again. You know, I'm not being reborn. Not this time."
So I want to rewind about with the egg, because Treadway hid it in his body before he died. Mm-hmm. We see him sealing up a wound at the beginning of the movie. We have no idea. We just assume he just got cut. But he put the egg, which is about... It's no bigger than this mouse.
Yeah, it's about the size of a mouse.
And he put it in his body, sealed it up. And I would have had Treadway's body been missing, because it was revealed after... Evan is shown this awesome place of the believers.
It's revealed with an F-bomb.
Yep.
That didn't need to be there, in my opinion.
It made me laugh.
It made me laugh. It didn't need to be there.
You get one. You're allowed one.
You're allowed two.
Oh.
But under very certain circumstances, and I don't think they needed it.
Yeah.
Personally.
If you get one freely, two could put you in R. So two, you could get away with it, but most of the time they're safe and you get one. So technically, if you ever make a Kirby movie and make a PG-13 or Legend of Zelda being PG-13, Link.
It'd be Navi. Navi would be the one that's...
Hey, listen! Yeah. No, it's when Link breaks a jar. What the was that? It's Zelda coming down the stairs. What are you doing? Anyway,
moving on.
I would have Treadway's body be hidden. The fight would take place somewhere absolutely, or Treadway gets away and he himself like takes time to die somewhere undisclosed. I don't know if it would be a morgue. He does something to just let himself go. And he would open up they would like find him, they'd open up the casket, and it's just, you know, a dead, decaying body and this egg. And that would be it. And that could be the big reveal. Because I thought it was so lame that it was like, oh, it's in his body. And this is after the Nihilists have taken over the Believers' headquarters, and they've rounded everybody up, and I'm assuming they just shot everyone there in the head. I would not have had that scene. I thought that was kind of lame that they're like, we're gonna infiltrate the Believers' place.
I would have had them happening at the same time. I would have had, he realizes where it's at, you know, he gets his memories back at the same time that Bathurst is invading.
I would have not had trippy weird dude believer I just his scenes were dumb. He didn't need to be drowned. They could have just done everything at the Believers headquarters. If they knew what he wanted, he could have been there. I thought that was all just weird. The product placement of the rain, the Alexa, I laughed. Whatever.
It was funny.
It was funny. He puts the Viking dude puts a rain down and turns it to face the camera, and I died. It was so well done. I'm like, wow, that was when rain really was picking up. This episode today is brought to you. I wish. Someday. Somebody sponsor us. Somebody please. Brandon Sanderson, Dragonsteel Studios.
Anyway,
I would want that to be a bigger
I'd want it to be a bigger plot point. At the same time,
the MacGuffin is his body.
It is, and we don't. I at the same time, moving away from the MacGuffin is not a horrible thing.
No.
So I think having it happen at the same time, I still think they need to, Bathurst still needs to get the egg pretty quick after it's discovered. There could be a fight. Maybe that's where he's shot, where Treadway gets shot.
But what bugs me is, Tim, he had it in that bomb, and that bomb seemed to just be able to go. So where was he going? Did they explain where he was going?
He was going to Glasgow.
He was going to Glasgow, I guess. It was so...
Don't know why he's going there.
The Highlands. He has to return home. I don't know. I was so confused.
I think making a note, like, I'm gonna switch tracks a little bit. In the worlds of D&D, there are magical ley lines that kind of they're basically I guess the edges of the tectonic plates or something like that, and it's just where magic flows freely and it connects the world, and it kind of holds the magic of the world in place. Connects the world, the material plane, to the other planes of existence, all of that kind of stuff.
All the planes.
So I imagine that he would be going wherever he's going. It needs to be mentioned that he's going to the nexus of whatever these ley lines are. They don't have to be the same kind of ley lines that we see in D&D, but something, maybe Glasgow is the nexus of where life kind of flows. The invisible energies of life flow to Glasgow. Something weird like that.
Okay, but if we do that, then there has to be mystic knives.
I don't know.
I wanted to ask you about something, and it was about how would we end reincarnation? You said, well, do you want D&D or do you want fantasy? Something like that.
Do you want the actual what people who believe in reincarnation in real life believe, or do you want the fantasy version?
Yeah, I think that's what was that what I asked?
Yeah, in real life,
because that's what I want. I want to be able to end it.
Yes. For those who believe in reincarnation, and I might butcher this, I'm doing my best just from memory.
We apologize for any inconsistencies.
Yes. If I'm incorrect in any way,
let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
We would love that.
And I'll fix it.
Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah, the main thing is achieving nirvana, that breaks the cycle. That is achieving enlightenment. You have undone your cycle of reincarnation. And so when you've
done everything you needed.
Yeah, when you achieve that level, it's the whole thing with Buddha. Buddha was the first person to achieve that enlightenment and end his cycle of reincarnation.
I didn't know. Nope.
Again, if I'm wrong, correct.
We might be mixing stuff up. We are from the western side of it's not really. It's a sphere, but whatever. We're from the west. We don't really know. Mm-hmm. We're terrible with this sort of thing.
But this is just what I remember from high school.
It's a guesstimation. Educated women.
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Achieving enlightenment.
In fantasy, it depends on what fantasy realm you're in. If you're in D&D, for example, reincarnation isn't really a thing. There's a spell called reincarnate that you cast on somebody and they'll reincarnate. But there's other stories. One of the stories that I'm writing deals with a little boy who wakes up in a world where reincarnation's a thing, and it's kind of like Infinite, where he remembers his past lives, and he's been everything from a cricket to a chicken to a tree to the little boy.
You would love Adventure Time.
And this my story, the way to achieve that nirvana, to break that cycle of reincarnation, requires a pilgrimage to a certain village. There's an artifact, a statue thing that he has to pray at to journey to get there. It's I think it's a cute story. But there's different ways to end reincarnation. And I think introducing a unique way for this story would be good.
I think that here's what I've been thinking. They mentioned it briefly that they were trying to deconstruct I want to say Belfast now, but that's not his name. He's from Belfast, and so
Bathurst.
his name Bathurst. They were trying to re-engineer. Reverse engineer. Thank you.
His gun.
And I would think that, honestly, here's maybe what I'm thinking. They find his body. Bathurst has no idea, and they bring the egg, and that's how the egg could end up there. They're studying the egg, and they're studying the gun. They're doing all this, and they realize that, oh my gosh, we could potentially. And the woman in the wheelchair, I really loved her character.
I did,
because she willingly chose to, I will live this life. I will enjoy this small time.
Chose to be crippled because it was a new experience.
She knew that because after she reached, after she retrieved all her memories, she easily could have. We'll just leave it there, and I think she would be perfect to go. Because they were talking about how they were trying to study. They've been studying their biology for years, and after finding Treadway's body, they have the egg. They're studying it, and they realize that with the egg technology, with what he was doing, and what we've been understanding is, Treadway was off, but we can end this. A good shot to the head with
it was this. Bathurst.
Oh, Bathurst, sorry, Bathurst.
Is the
sorry,
one who invented.
Sorry.
Had his team invent the egg.
Yep. Sorry, I went backwards. I said that so backwards. But I would say that, and I would want them to make a few bullets. And near the final fight, I kind of like what you said, that he's kind of pinned him, and I think a bullet to the head would be fine. But I would want
maybe he has 3 shots, and his first shot hits Treadway in the back of the head, but he's got that steel plate, just like what happens in the movie, and so that bullet's gone, unusable. Second shot goes off, and maybe it hits the driver of the helicopter, or the plane, and the plane starts to go down.
And are these the crazy bullets?
Yeah.
Are the egg bullets?
Are egg bullets.
Egg bullets? Yes. I don't want the poor pilot to, I don't know. I don't want him to be wiped. Well, I mean
if he's a normal person.
He did.
He's dead anyway.
Okay.
Might as well kill him in a cool way.
All right.
I don't know. Think about it from a an author's standpoint. I'm killing this character. How can I make it cool?
You get a special bullet through the head.
So something like that, and then the third bullet is for Bathurst.
Mm-hmm. I realize that this might be something that YouTube might not want us talking about. Might have to Uh-oh. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see
if
what
we
happens.
get taken down, we get taken down.
We get taken down. I just realized that. It just hit me. I'm like, oh.
We're reviewing a movie and trying to fix it. It's fine.
Yeah. I would say that I would want Bathurst, after he's pinned him down, or maybe they shot with other bullets, and you see, and his Bathurst bullets I would want Bathurst's bullets to be, I'm going to change his to green, because that's kind of the
kind
evil.
of match the egg.
Yeah. And I would make Treadway's egg bullet blue. I would make it like a peaceful, like, I know that's kind of, I would want the green to be the limbo state, and I would want blue to be, we can let you. This isn't a torture. This isn't a punishment. Some of them want to leave. This is a release. This is a release, and it's kind of and they would. I don't want it to be such a crude way, but I would honestly say that he would look at Treadway and he would pull out the bullet and load the gun after, not Treadway, at Bathurst. Very similar. They've crashed the plane. It's just them, and they're standing up. The egg has been destroyed, and he's sitting there, and he's like, "This is just gonna keep going." And he aims the gun at him, and he goes, "Whether I'm living or in the the limbo state, I'm always suffering, Evan. You're never gonna win." And I want Evan to flip the gun around and go, "This is your product, and this will give you release. So I'll give you the chance. Use it on me, or use it on yourself. What do you want?"
Maybe Bathurst. Here's a better way. Not a better way, but a different,
alternative way. Yeah. You could say it was better. You could say you hated it.
I don't mean better. I mean alternative. Bathurst has the gun trained on Treadway.
Okay.
And is given this whole spiel about how he is suffering forever and he just wants it to end. And
guys, it's really, I will say, I really felt for Bathurst, and I really liked his character, the idea of it. I would have wanted him to stay. I don't know. I'll come up with that gripe later. I'll come up with that gripe later. Let's talk about that gripe later.
I thought Bratwurst's character was cool. During the movie, the captions, the first couple times right. I read it as Bratwurst.
Bratwurst, that's right. Bratwurst. So Bathurst. I want to talk about one gripe I had with him, but Bathurst.
Yeah. Anyway, I would want Bathurst to look at Treadway and turn the gun around and hand it to him and say, "Let me go. I've been suffering. End my suffering."
Yeah, I think that could be. Oh. No, because if Bathurst knew that they had made that, he probably would have maybe taken it out and that would have stopped it, or maybe he just didn't believe it. No, it is tricky. It is tricky with this, but I think the idea of them reverse engineering the egg, reverse engineering the bullets, and making something final for them is something that I feel like that is one of the best things we could have done. And I feel like
we could do the cliche and do one bullet.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Sparrow, one bullet.
Well,
thing.
I was imagining that after they escape, you see Evan stumble through. They've ransacked the place. They've taken the egg. He sees, Viking Man's down. The other woman who trained him is down. They're gone. We see Nora is hurt. And all right. And she's like, they have the egg. And that could be the moment I was like, okay, we can do this. And they look up and they see the one bullet. Like, she was only able to make one. And it would be so sad because we'd see her just kind of slumped in her wheelchair. I wish they would have showed us because, anyway, I like that. I like the tiny little snippet of the woman in the wheelchair and Bathurst having a relationship in one of their past lives. I love that. I would have made that even more. And I would have wanted to see Bathurst shoot her and it brings like he like starts kind of tearing up after he does it. He's like, dang it. He's like, that's just suffering for her. I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, and he could, after he says, and after he does it, he like holds her chip and goes, don't worry, my love. Soon this is all going to be over. Mm-hmm. Again, I would want the emphasis of he is suffering, and I don't want to dive too deep in suffering and how life can be held, because I know that there are people on this who feel that way, and I don't want to dive too much into that. So I don't want this to be an analogy of suffering. I want this to be an analogy of good versus evil, and life is worth living, and we can learn our lessons, and we can continue, and we can learn to not suffer. So that's why I wish that we could have a different way instead of something so abrupt. I would prefer not a bullet. I would want something else. So maybe you're right. Maybe your ending with just him crushing the egg and it dissolving him. Maybe that is it. But I would want that they have... Honestly,
I think for a modern world, I think the bullet works. I agree. It is a little abrupt.
Is it awful that I would rather recommend like assisted euthanization? Is that worse? Am I awful for thinking that's worse for anyone who's...
I don't know.
This got really heavy, and I did not realize how difficult this got until it just hit me like a brick. Mm-hmm. I, for one, am just, I don't think like that ever. So now that it's hitting me, I'm going, oh, I could really be making some people really sad while making up this video. And I apologize for my arrogance. And wow, I do want a different ending for Bathurst. Oh my gosh, I almost call him Bratwurst. I was like, don't say Bratwurst. Don't say Bratwurst. Don't say Bratwurst.
It's okay.
I would want a humane, powerful ending between these two almost brother-like characters. I would want it to be final. I would want it to be, and that's why, again, I kind of want it to be a knife. I want it to be something that, and it could be something he either uses a gun or a knife to stab, and maybe he even just puts the egg at the end of his knife, stabs it. We see the egg go through the knife, and we see it dissolve, and you can see that Bathurst can tell like that he's not coming back, and he smiles and says thank you, and he just dissolves and disappears Yoda style or Master Oogway style into the beautiful Glasgow sky. Something like that, or reverse engineer bullet, or just something. But just the idea that he is trapped in his limbo, to me, is, I didn't like it. And I know that he's a villain, I know that he deserves it, but he's been suffering his whole life. I don't know. I guess I am.
I don't know.
So one gripe I will say about him is he makes the joke. He kills the older, I don't even remember his name, but the librarian type dude with bows and arrows and a crossbow. A crossbow.
Older is, or newer is not always better.
New. And then at the end, he's using drones, and I was like, "Boo! You're like going back on what you said." So
I think he should have said sometimes older or sometimes newer is better. Maybe his assistant comes in and is like, "You're using the drones," and he remarks, "Sometimes newer is better."
Yeah, like that would have been like, they didn't even like treat that. And Evan just died in the movie. He just puts the egg in the movie. They're fighting on a plane. The plane's going haywire. They crash, and while they're falling out of the sky, he shoots him in the head with his own gun, and he just is going to be lost at sea, and Evan just puts the egg back in his jacket and he falls into the ocean and dies because you'd be a pancake from that height.
Splatter.
Yeah. So I would have wanted Evan living the rest of his life just normally. I don't know though. I would have an epic death between the two of them.
I would have had them both die just the way they did, and then I liked the ending where it showed him
our two
reincarnated.
lovers getting back together. It shows. It would have been cool to see. I think I would have had the couple maybe die earlier, and Evan maybe lives out his days a little longer, and at the end of the movie, when he's in his next life, we see a couple walk up to him and hand him his sword from his previous life. I think that would have been cool.
That would work.
I would like that a lot more, and so it's confirmed more of like, and there you go. Yeah, I would want them to be freed. I would have want to see the nihilists giving the ability to choose freedom and stop their so-called curse. And maybe you're right. Maybe Bathurst deserves an ending of being in his own limbo that he made. Maybe he deserves the bed that he made. And maybe that's just the best thing. A part of me, I did originally want to come up with a way that all of them are done and they all get to move on. But I think that would be either for another day or for another story. Because that's about all I would change. Well, those are a few things I would change. I probably could keep going.
Here's my biggest gripe we haven't talked about.
Oh.
The acting.
Well, yes.
Some of the acting was just so wooden.
Yes.
Rigid and...
That's basically it right there.
It was just so... Yeah, only a very small handful of the actors actually felt like they were into the role.
If you make Mark Wahlberg look like an Oscar award winner,
there's an issue. So I will say he wasn't horrible.
No.
He's not a bad actor.
Bathurst stole the show.
100%.
I think that's why
100%.
I think that's why I was so
I think Nora did a good job.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, like
everyone was so wooden and corny and it was probably the way they wrote it.
I did like the big dude, the Viking dude.
Yeah, he's cool.
I thought he was really cool. And again, I said it before, I would like to have seen a little bit more from him. Did we even get a name for him?
Bjorn. I don't know.
Well, what is
and while he looks at
IMDb per se. Kovic. His name was. He did introduce himself. He said his name was Kovic.
But it was so fast, and so it wasn't even memorable. And that's the issue. Is many of the characters I didn't, but also I am terrible with names. I am. It's really bad. That's why we have Tim. I know I need to write down notes. I will try to take notes next time, but for the most part, this is all I simply wanted was just the idea of these two estranged souls who have been leading and guiding separate groups. One wants it all to end. One believes that there is better and brighter things and keep moving forward. And I really like that those two ideas coming at each other.
Get rid of the gasoline scene.
That was weird.
It was weird. Very cold.
At least I wish I don't know why they didn't just light him on fire. It was weird. I was like, why? But
anyway,
for me, I'm pretty happy with this discussion we've had. It was a lot of fun just going into a movie that wasn't like super terrible.
It's not Babylon 80.
No.
Thank goodness.
Gosh. Ugh. But yet there's something about it that I will think about it every now and then. And I've said that every time we bring up that name, a part of me is like, Tim, we got to do it again. We got to do a round 2. Watch it again and just see what we can do. We got it.
I don't want to.
But we know that But I, for one, I'm happy. This was fun. This was good. And hopefully next week, I don't know, we'll surprise y'all. But it was a lot of fun, and
we'll see what we do next week.
Yeah,
Surprise.
And yeah, it will be a surprise, but I'm happy, and I hope you all will be safe.
Yeah, I also I don't have anything else to say. So, like always, love each other, be kind, and just remember there's always hope. And until next time, we'll see you later, pitches.
Bye.